This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so this is the part where we discuss here, like we'll have to go into the compute section, and in the compute section we'll have to select easy under EC2 instance like this one, and in that dashboard we'll have to select the region North Virginia, and after that you can use this, and then we'll have to click on launch EC2 instance. So at this we are at this screen. This is the EC2 dashboard. As of now, we do not have any resources which are available in US East 1 region, North Virginia, you can say. Let me fix. After that, so we'll have to click on launch EC2 instance. After that, we'll have to select AMI. Already we discussed like how to select AMI for the same. So we selected AMI, and this time we will be selecting Amazon 2 SVM and 64 x86. We'll be selecting this one. After that, I have already mentioned here, like we'll be selecting T2 micro instance type, which 1 vPCU and 1 GB memory server. Click on configure instantiation for further configuration. See, already a step has been provided to you. Next configuration. After that, we'll have to select number of instance. You can provide up to 20 instance at one point at a time, means you can create 20 instance parallelly. So we'll be selecting one as of now. After that, we'll have to select, you see under the purchase, keep the option of request is unchecked for now. This is done when we wish to launch a spot instance instead of on-demand instance. So we have already discussed about this one, on-demand instance and you can spot instance. As we discussed, like a spot instance means the price will be lower, but there is no guarantee how long you will be able to use that instance. Means some other person, if they bid the price higher than you have bid for, your instance will be deleted and it will be transferred to the new user. So we are not going to use response instances here. After that, we'll have to select existing. So in VPC, so this is the VPC. As of now, we have default VPC. Either we can create a new one. This is what it has been. This is what it has been explained here. You have to decide here in which VPC version you would like to launch your instance. Under which subnet instance you VPC. It's better to determine plan and prior launch the VPC. Your AWS architecture setup should include IP range for your subnet. Pre-planned better is B. So so if you web server, so means like what exactly we are trying to say here, we'll have to select default one, or else you can create a new one. This can be done under you can see here, you can also create a new one. So right now we'll be selecting the existing VPC. This is the flow, either create a new one or you can use default one. So for network, we'll be selecting default one. This is what we have already selected, default one. After that, in the subnet part, you can see that in the subnet part, it's up to you which region you would like to have. So in the subnet part, let's say I selected US East 1C. Means we already discussed about the same. Like in one region, they have multiple, you can say, sub region. There are multiple sub region, you can say data center. So let's say we have selected US to 1C and so on. Can you see, like they have been provided, like 4091 IP address is available in each region. Can you see in one region they have provided this much IP address? Means technically you can create 4091 instance in this VPC for this region, for this sub-region. Guys, did you understand this point? So technically you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total 6, you can say region. So it means total 6 subnets means you can create 16 into 4094 instance in US61 in one VPC. Uh, 16 into 4091. No, not 16. Sorry, 6. Okay, so you can create 2, 4, 5, 4, 6 instance in one region. You are allowed to create this much instance in one region in one VPC. One IP address means one instance, you can say. So let's say we have selected this one. Now under the auto assign public IP address, of course we'll be using use subnet setting. Whatever the setting you have, it will create an instance for you and public IP address for you. After that, we have already discussed about this point. Okay, so now, so this is what we have already discussed, like auto assign public IP address, use the default setting. So you can choose AWS, want AWS to assign and public access automatically, or you can do it manually later. You can enable, disable auto assign feature likewise. Means why we are using why we need to have public IP. If you want to connect your EC2 instance from internet, in that case you may have to have a public IP address. Otherwise you can use private IP address. Well, means if you want to perform some kind of a specific task and all, so why you should go for you can say public IP. In that case, no need to have the IP address. Means you can connect your instance internally, means one instance to another instance. So in that case, public IP address will won't required. So but anyway, so here we want to connect it from internet, so that's the reason we'll have to create public IP address. That's the reason we have selected this one, auto assign public IP address. Auto assign public IP address. So this IAM role, like we discussed earlier, IAM role nothing but if you want to provide proper a particular kind of permission, or let's say your AWS EC2 instance should have the like other AWS services permission. In that case, you'll have to select this one. So you can see as of now I have created this kind of public this kind of IAM role. Here you can see ML Aptens means using this role, like this instance will have the access of our machine learning stuffs and all. which are available in S3 bucket or which are available in all the other areas. So these are the roles. So if you want to create a simple you can say instance, no need to provide any kind of IAM role. So you simply select none. In the GTS shutdown behavior, when you accidentally shut down your instance, you surely don't want to delete it, but it should be stopped here. So you should always keep like this one. So let's say you have as we discussed earlier, if you want, whenever you stop your instance, it should be a stop condition, not in the terminate condition. Otherwise what will happen, you may lose your data. So better you should keep the it's for like whenever we set down our instance, it should be in the stop condition. After that we'll have to enable protection, terminate protection. So we'll have to check out. We'll have to select check. In that case, what will happen? We won't be able to delete our instance, provided until you uncheck it from here. You just uncheck it again from their created institutions options. So we'll be selecting this one. Now, in case you accidentally terminate your instance, AWS has layer of security mechanism. It will not delete your instance if you have enabled accidental terminate protection. Means you won't be able to delete it, provided it is unchecked. After that, you can see under monitoring, you can enable detailed monitoring if your instance is a business critical instance. Here will keep the option unchecked. AWS always provide basic monitoring of your instance free of cost. Means imagine if you want to have some basic you can say monitoring system that will be provided by them. Okay, now we have already discussed here under tenancy select the option if your application highly secure application, then you should go for dedicated capacity. It is provide both options. So we have already discussed about the same. What is shared tendency and what is dedicated means. If you want to isolate your system from others, in that case you will have to select dedicated a dedicated instance, but it will be much costlier, at least 20 times of your shared instance shared instance tendency. Now next time we'll have to select add storage. You'll have to click on it. After that, you can see these are the options which are available. We have already mentioned here. In the you'll see, you can see that the instance has been automatically provided a general purpose root volume of 8 GB. Maximum volume size we can go a general purpose is 16 GB. Okay, you can. Oh, this statement I might have had wrong. It can go to any value, so I'll update it later. This line is not good. And you can change the volume size, add a new volume, change the volume type. It is for three type of volume: magnetic, general purpose, and provision IPS. You can choose a volume type based on your application I need. So Here we'll be selecting it's this one, and by default it is this one. So I'll be selecting general purpose SSD. Provision IPS we already discussed, like if you need to have the more read and write per second, in that case magnetic means they are also a standard network. So we'll be selecting general purpose as of now. For this one they have around 100 you can say IOPS. See here you can go for 20 or 30 and so on. This text is not right, so I'll update it later. Means maximum volume size can go with general purpose 16 GB. It should not 60 GB, rather it should you can say 1023 GB. Now this one is done. Let's click on it. Add tag. As we discussed here, like a tag consists of case sensitive key pair value. You can define with the key name and the value web server. A copy of the tag server applied by volume instance or both. So simply we'll use this one. I'll just name a key as a name and value as a web server. We can up to 50 tags. Can you see? Now just click on security group. Security group. In this instance, can you see it here? In this step, configuration security, you can restrict the traffic on instance for this. This is the added firewall mechanism provided by AWS apart from your instance OS firewall. Means since our server is web server, so we need to do following a step. Create a new security group, name of our server security group, defining upon this one, define protocol which you want to enable by my instance, assigning the IP address which is allowed to access our instance on the protocol. Once available, you can review launch. So you can see right now I have added here. So so we'll just launch the new name and provide the name as a so what is the IP address and port? What is IP address and port difference? Port difference I didn't understand, John. IP address is means from where your instance is accessible, and port I'll tell you like what exactly. Port means by what? Okay, I'll let me complete this one. Then you'll get to know what exactly I'm trying to say. Port in general you can provide like for which port your instance is accessible. Means definitely it should be a kind of protocol. Using the protocol only you will be able to access it. Means let's say I have added this one HTTP. For HTTP, if you want to access HTTP, they have default port. If you want to access HTTPS, means secured network, in that case it should go via port 443. Means using this protocol, this TCP protocol, you can see it here. This is TCP protocol. The type of protocol provided additional selected port range. The custom rule protocols, you can manually enter port number or port range. Means you are allowed to access your SSH connection only via port 22. Okay, so okay, let's create this one. Then I'll tell you what exactly what is the significance of this one. How we set the our IP address only allow access, not this one. So simply you can set here like this, my IP address. So this is your IP address. Simply you can add it here. And my IP address should always start with, you can say your it should start with 36 or um, yeah, it should start with 32, let's say. This part I'll explain it once we will one, or else you can go for here as well. I have already provided some basic stuff. Mhm. Okay, so I think it should be 24. Okay, so this part I'll tell you, or like I'll let you later, or like what exactly this means to. Anyway, so once you create this one, let's say I have created this one, and just launch that instance. Let's say I have created test key2 yesterday. After click on launch instance, this way our instance will be created. Now, okay, now let's see what type of, okay, before it, like you have yesterday I created a file called test key2.pm. So to make it accessible, so let's say if I connect it right now, what will happen? I won't be able to connect it. It will throw an error. Can you see? Connection refused. After that, after some time, I'm getting the option like EDTA key fingerprint in this one. Do you would like to connect? So I'll just write yes. So now again, I got message warning unprotected private key file. Means this file version is not correct. That's the reason we are not able to connect our instance. To create means simply like Amazon EC2 has they have denied permission. For this one, first you should convert their ownership. So I'll have to convert ownership of 400 of that file. Means what file you have test key. If you do so, now you will be able to connect your server via this one. Can you see? I am able to access our EC2 instance, but you won't be able to access it by yourself, because the reason even though if you have this key, you won't be able to access it. Let's say if I change our security group, this is our security group. this one. Can you see here I have added this one. Let's say if I made similar to this one, if I save it, now I won't be able to connect our just a minute. Oh, still it is not saved. That's the reason. Let's say if I add some value like this one, if I okay, no, it's not allowed. 6. If I save it, so why it is not updating? Two 1 6. See, now I am not allowed to access my server. Reason behind it, like I am trying to access my port SSH connection. Can you see? This is SSH connection. This SSH connection has a protocol of port 22. Means this they will establish a connection between your computer and the server via port 22 only. If you want to have access connection, but here this is the IP address. You need to provide your public IP address with the sub you can say CIDR range. This CIDR range, like why I have written 24, what could be the another reason, that things we'll discuss later. But for now you can see, like you will have to go to Google and you'll have to search your IP address, and after that once you have the IP address, uh, once you have your IP address, you should add like this one. 216 116 156. So every time if you click on it, and IP address got might change. So that time we had 0, but this time it is 157.216. So now if I change it again to the old IP address, I shall be able to access it. Fine, can you see it here? Connects operation timeout, reason behind it, I was not able to access it. Again, if I hit it here, they will try to find what is from what IP address I'm like this access is coming, and see, like I'm right now I'm able to access it. So John, sort of did you understand how you can set your IP address only? And John, did you understand what is the significance of port here? And we'll discuss more about the things once we start creating web, any kind of web and all. Means we have a lab for Node.js application. So Node.js application will be running on. Can we connect it? Can we connect by only IP address without port? What do you mean by without port? See, like you need to have the port. Without port you won't be able to. It is simple, like if you want to establish a connection, you may have to follow the you can say networking protocol. So networking protocol is means you should have always IP address with the default port. So for SSH connection, your default connection is port 22. If you want to connect via HTTP, means simple IP address, in that case you may have to use port 80. If you want to connect HTTPS, means secure connection, in that case you may have to have a 443 enable. If you want to establish MySQL connection, you may have to use you can say like 3306 port. So these are the defined protocol. You cannot change that value, standard value. So let's say, can you see it is not editable? Can see it is not editable. You cannot edit. Let's say if you want to connect your MySQL, if you have installed MySQL and all, if you click it, can you see that by default they have given the port range. Means these are the default port using using this port. You will be able to connect your server. Again, it's up to you whether you want to connect your instance, your MySQL from anywhere in the world. In that case, you will have to give this one. Otherwise, you can perform similar to that one. Means first you will have to find your IP range, and then you need to put that IP range to here with /24 or 25 or 36. That part we'll discuss later, how to identify what IP range you need to have, what are the port range you need to have, and so on. You can define custom as well. Can you see custom rule? So here, let's say if I need to have 5000 port accessible for our Node.js application, you can give like similar to that one. In that case, what will happen? Like our instance will be accessible to port 50,000 as well. Other than this, these standard, other than this standard, you can say port range. Means these are the standard, but here you can say here you can change because they are custom TCP. If you want to have you can say defined protocol like type HTTP, SSS, MySQL and all, they have defined their process. Can you explain a little bit about the source? So for Django, we use 80. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to access Django, you may have to use 8000, or you may have to use 8080, like this one. This source means, can you see this is the different traffic that reach to your instance, a specified single IP address. This one with CIDR notation. Can you see CIDR notation is here 32. If connecting the if connecting from behind a firewall, you need to have IP address range used by the client computer. You can specify the name or ID of the authorization group. To specify security group, you may have okay, this is so simple. You can say how much type of this one way you will have to select this one, or simple you can select this one. Can you see they have you can say calculate your IP address by themselves. So technically, if you want to access only from your IP address, simply you will have to select my IP. In that case, what will happen? They will append 32 at the end. So it means using this IP address only you will be allowed to access this computer, means from your local computer only. If you select anywhere, can you see this is for this first step is for IPv4 range, and the later can you see double /0, this is applicable for IPv6 range. So in AWS, or in fact any kind of networking system, they have two different type of IP address protocol. One is for IPv4, another is for IPv6. But most of the time your DNS and all, it will be configured by IPv4 one. Means first part only. So technically second part is not that one important. That's why it has been written common, but most of the case we have written first step only. You can select a custom. If you select custom, then in that case you can edit that way. So Subhas, did you get my point? Did you understand what this source means to us? Means using this source you can able to. So here I was searching my IP address here in Google, and instead if you simply search it from here, you'll get the information. They will calculate your IP address and they will append this value here. Okay, let's save it, and once you save, you'll let's proceed for the next one. So once we download the save, and later, so these are the steps which have been provided for Windows user. Means you can connect your instance directly from Windows computer as well, but I'll prefer to connect it via, you can say, Unix. Means here you can see like this way, I shall be able to connect it. Now one more thing I would like to know. So here we have already created instance. Can you see like our IP address is this one, 35.172.65.132, our public IP address. Let me open it in another browser. Now, due to some reason, we may have to stop our EC2 instance. So in that case, what will happen? IP address will stay, or maybe that IP address will change. Let me check. I just stop that condition, and what happened? Like this IP address might change. Means we may lose this public IP. Let's see what will happen. Okay, can you see? Once we stop our EC2 instance, they removed their public IP address, but still we have private IP address. Can you see? These are the 172, 31, 32, 33, 52. They are the private IP address, means internal IP address. Same way, like you can see about the things like what is our internal IP address here. Our internal IP address 192.168.1.7. Even though if I shut down my computer, that won't change. But my public IP address, means our internal IP address, might change once we start our computer, or maybe once we move my computer from one network to another network. So means that public IP address are specific to your internet service provider. If you change the internet service provider, if you change the location, definitely that IP address will change. Okay, now let's. So as of now, you can see our old IP address was 135.172.265.132. Let's say if I restart my server again. Can you see now new IP address is your 52.201.156.190.195. Anyone can explain me what is happening here? Why IP address got changed? And what will be the drawback for changing IP address every time whenever we start the computer? Anyone can have any idea about the same? sort of see, like private DNS means once you are in the same network, can you can you connect my computer via this IP address? Can you connect externally via this IP address or not? Of course, you won't be able to connect this IP like our server. How the computer will know like this one? So can you see like in IP address should be unique, but if you see that private IP address might be same for multiple. So it means for one network. So for your local network, that IP address will be different, but globally that IP address might be same. So can you check your IP address? Can you check this one? Go to the Wi-Fi and you might got open network preference. So you'll get this kind of IP address. It should start from 192.168.1 and some value between 1 to 224. Sort of, can you check it? What is your IP address? So can you see like see here your IP address is 192.126.86 and 93. So this IP address might be same for multiple person. In fact, I can also set same IP address here. Let's say if I select this one internally, I can in advance see. Can you see we have an options initiate this one. I can select this IP address as well. If I do so, what will happen? I'll be able to you can say set this IP address. Let me check if I'll be able to connect. So guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so here you can see like I was trying to update that step manually, but I was not able to do it. With reason behind it, like there are some protocol that need to understand. But anyway, so see, like you can set your IP address as per your desired limit. Either you can select your IP address manually, or maybe you can select, or you can select the IP address should be created by your network router itself. So the reason behind it, like this IP address will be unique your inside your own router, you can say internally one only. Means if you are in the same apartment, so in the within same apartment within same network, your IP address will be different. But if you take the case of you can say outside your apartment, that IP address should be same for different person as well. So you can see like my IP address is 192.168.1.7. So this kind of IP address should be available for other person as well. In your case, it was just 8693. Means So see, like in the fourth range, this fourth instead of 86, you can go up to 224 IP. Instead of 93, you can go up to 224 IP. It means definitely that IP address will be same for many person. Means in the world we won't have just 254 IP, 254 into 254 computer. In fact, there will be more than that one. So that IP address will be same for my internal IP address. So now tell me, like, will you be able to connect your computer using this IP address? Will it make sense? How you will distinguish? How you will differentiate whether the request is coming from your network or maybe some from some other network? You got my point, Saras? Can connect means obviously it is not unique. Okay, now coming to here, uh, whenever you create an server, you need to have the public IP address. This public IP address means the face of your EC2 instance by which you will be able to connect it. And remember, like whenever you are creating an EC2 instance, you would like to connect it via DNS name. Means you should connect this one using some kind of DNS. Can see, like as of now, these are the you can say I have this kind of, you can say, DNS, and each and every DNS should be connected via, you can say, some kind of name configuration. So let's say if the value means this value will got changed, so what will happen? You may lose your access. Means if the IP address will be changed, okay, I'll tell you what. If you click it here, can you see, like you need to provide the IP address of your created EC2 instance. Let's say I need to have a demo dot this one. In that case, what will happen? You will have to provide your IP address. So what is my current IP address? My current IP address is this one. So I'll be selecting this one and I'll have to put it here. So let's say I just give the name as demo, this one. In that case, I'll have to provide the IP address here, like this one. Then instead of you can say accessing our website via the IP address, we can connect like this one, demo dot. Okay, so as of now it is not accessible. Okay, now I think I'll be doing like this one. Can you see, like I was able to access it via this one. Instead of this one, I'll be selecting the created domain name. So right now I need to access my server. So for this one, SSS I PIM file name EC2 user @ the website name. So initially my website name was something different. Means it was being connected default. You can say this is the DNS. Means this DNS, public DNS, has been provided by AWS itself, and they have provided IP address as well. So now I would like to connect this EC2 instance via domain name instead of IP address, or maybe instead of public IP. So for that, let me update our security group as well first. So for now, I'll be selecting anywhere. Okay, and IP address is, maybe this one 52.192 to this one. The IP address got changed, so we'll have to. Okay, now if I have already changed it. Now let's say if I hit enter, demo, this one is not accessible. So it might take some time. After that, it will start reflecting. Or else, okay, we can connect it via this one as well, means our public IP address. Can you see I'm able to establish the connection via this IP address instead of this one. So what will happen whenever we change our domain, whenever we restart our server? In that case, what will happen? This IP address got changed, and we may lose our you can say connecting process of our instance. So for this IP address should be fixed every time whenever we restart our server. That are things we'll have to discuss. So here, actually, that domain shouldn't be start with dot. Rather, it should start with means we should not assign this one as a subdomain. Rather, we should assign with domain. That's the reason they are not able to connect our server. Demo this one, node name or server provider or not known, means they are not able to identify what this means to us. So for that one, they may have to update the things, means this demo is connected to this IP address, IPv4 address, and so whenever we access this one demo dot this one, so it technically they should able to access our they should be able to access our this IP address 52.1.1.2. Right now, SSH is not establishing, SSH connection not establishing, but other part it can be accessible. Anyway, that part we'll discuss later in the things. So for now, what exactly I was trying to explain, whenever you restart your computer or whenever you restart your EC2 instance, this IP address will change. To avoid this kind of scenario, we can use our Elastic IP. Can you see in the network security tab we have an Elastic IP. So you'll have to create on allocate new IP address. You'll have to use source VPC Amazon full. Just click on allocate. In that case, they have created a IP address, means 52.0.94. Now you need to assign this IP address to the created EC2 instance. Can you see associate address? I just wanted to associate for what type of instance you would like to associate. I would like to associate for the running server. This is our server. And what is their private IP? A private IP, this one. So now click on associate. In that case, now if you see your EC2 instance, that IP address have changed, or now you have got this one 52 point this one. So means technically we change our public IP address. Now let's say if I stop my EC2 instance, let's say I just stop that EC2 instance. Now this IP address won't change. It will be a static in nature. Means you, even though your EC2 instance is stopped, your IP address remains same and it will be attached to the stop EC2 instance. Can you see here? Still you have your public DNS, you have your IPv4 IP address. If I restart again, what will happen? The IP address will remain same.
Can you show that one more time?
Yeah, of course, I'll show you. So, John, I think this is your answer. Means right now, what exactly I'm trying to say, this could be your answer of your question. Okay, so now see, my IP address is still same. So, John, now did you understand how you can avoid this kind of stuff? Means even though after refreshing our EC2 instance IP address, I am allowed to access it. The IP address will remain same, and this IP address need to be updated in DNS. So it means technically that DNS name should be also, it will also remain same. You don't have to update here as well. Means using this DNS name. So once you create an IP address, you can assign that IP address to it. But there is some you can say catch here as well. You cannot so in elastic IP address, you can say this elastic IP address, they have some catch. Okay, anyway, I'll redo this step again. First you will have to, if you have already created, I need to dissociate first, and after that I'll have to release. I just release that one. Okay, now come to this one. So now what will happen? They might have created default EC2 instance, means default public IP address by themselves. You see, again they have created a different IP address, different public IP address. So let's create, let's associate a new IP address. Just go to here, allocate new IP address. I'll be clicking here. After that, we'll have to create, or we have to allocate a new IP address using Amazon pool or owned by me. So by default, you should have always used for Amazon pool only, because otherwise, if you select this one, you'll have to provide some value. Poll allow you to CADR, and means you, as of now you do not have this one, so better you should select Amazon pool only. After that, you click on allocate. This time they have given you the fixed IP address of elastic IP address of this one 34 to 200 185 52. Now just click on it. Means this IP address is already created. Now you should associate this IP address to the instance. So as of now, you can see your IP address is your as of now your IP address is this one 52 150 this one. So I'd like to change it from the default created IP address to the newly created allocated elastic IP. So you'll have to click on action. After that, you click on associate and select which you, running EC2 instance you would like to connect with. So I'll be selecting this one. So I have only one. See here. So remember, we selected, we just provided the key name tag, means tag key should be name and the value should be web server. So now you can see what is the use of that key and name. You can say tag. So here it gives an idea. Okay, so like you have already created, you have already assigned the tag as a web server. So it will give an idea which instance you should select. So as of now, we have only one EC2 instance. That's why it is showing only one. What if I would have more than 15 or 20? How you will distinguish all this created EC2 instance? You, because ID identifying instance by ID will be little different. So better we should identify this instance via tag. So here the tag is, you can say web server. We'll be selecting this one. At the same time, we'll have to select their public private IP address as well, so that it will stuck to the public IP address every time. You select it, and after that, just click on associate. Once you associate, your IP address will be changed. So as of now, you can see IP address was 52.133. If you refresh it, see, now your new IP address is this one, and you'll have to add this value again. Jones, now is that clear? Now this IP address is fixed. You don't have to, even though this IP address is like you, as of now your instance is running condition. If you stop it, your IP address is still connected to your stop instance. It is not changing. The reason behind it, like you have already allocated this IP address to this instance. See, it is like your IP address is, or your instance is in the stop condition. Still, they are associated with your public IP IPv4. Again, if you start it here, if you start it again, see, again it is connecting, and you are using the same IP address for newly, or you can say restarted instance as well. So guys, everybody have so always better to make elastic IP address. Now I'll come to that point as well, John. Just a minute. Just so guys, everybody have understood how this IP address work, and how this elastic IP address will give some advantage over restarting your server. What about Subhas, Saurabh, Biplab, Jones, already Arun, Ashish? So everybody understood or not? Okay, so Biplab, clear to me. Okay, perfect. Okay, now there is some disadvantage of using you can say this one, elastic IP. First of all, like you are limited to use IP, like elastic IP address, means there is some limitation by creating elastic IP address per region. Means you can create up to 4 or 5 or 7, that I need to understand, that you need to find. Like in general, you can create at max, I would say, like 10 IP address in one region. So let's say if you are into US East Virginia region, you can create up to 10 IP address only, elastic IP. You cannot go beyond that one. Another disadvantage is that if you have created your elastic IP address, and if you are not using it, you will have to pay their cost. Can you see it here? IP address is totally free as long as they are being used by instance. However, Amazon will charge you $0.01 per elastic IP that you reserve and you are not used. And you will be charged even remap your elastic IP address more than 100 times in a month. So this is the disadvantage, or you can say this is the limitation of using elastic IP. Means you cannot change your IP address you can say 100 times in a month, and you cannot go and if you do so, and if you have created your elastic IP address and if you are not using it, you will have to pay $0.01 per hour as to reserve your unused you can say elastic IP address. So technically, if you are stopping your EC2 instance, and in that case, what is happening? Like you will have to pay their fee. So, but if you are not using it, if you are using it, of course, it is completely free. So, so John, now you got to know. John's, so you said so always better to make elastic IP address now. So now I think you have got my point why it is important to understand where I need to use elastic IP address at what sense. Means if your organization and like if you have created an EC2 instance, so if you are associating with your elastic IP address, so technically you should always run your EC2 instance. If your purpose is to stop your EC2 instance for some particular time, in that case it will be a very costly affair. Means like you can see the cost of your IP address is $0.01 per hour, but the T2 micro cost, T2 can you see $0.013 per hour, and this one, so it is almost same. Means if you have created your IP address, if you are not using it, and you wanted to save your some cost, that's the reason you stop your institution. In that case, what happened, like just because of your elastic IP address, you may have to pay almost similar fee. One way you are saving that, one way you are saving cost, another way you are spending more cost if for not using your EC2 instance. See, like you cannot recover deleted EC2 instance. Ultimately, see, like how exactly EC2 instance work. EC2 instance work like whenever you stop your EC2 instance, at that time what will happen? They release your VPC, they release the they release the memory, and they keep your data inside your volume. Means remember whenever we created our EC2 instance, at that time they created like EBS volume as well. Can you see? Like we have our EBS data root volume. So what will happen whenever you create an EC2 instance, at that time they will store all of your information. Like let's say if you have installed software like Java, Node.js, Python, and all, so they will store each and every information here. And whenever you stop your EC2 instance, at that time what will happen? They will detach your CPU, they will detach your memory from, they will detach your IP address, each and everything from instance, but they will keep your data in volume only. If your instance is in you can say in a stop condition. But if you have selected if you have terminated your instance, In that case, they will delete your volume as well. Means your EBS volume as well will be deleted via terminating your EC2 instance. So in that case, once you delete the volume, you won't be able to recover it. Got my point, Saurabh? So let's say if I have to delete this one. Okay, so first of all, like remember in the this one we had selected these options. Mm, you can see enable terminate person, we selected checked box. Now let's say I need to delete that instance. Yeah, if I go to terminate, can you see I am not allowed to terminate the instance because I haven't selected you can say instance EBS instance, the default for EBS. These instance and this instance have terminate protection and we won't be terminated. So how I should be able to delete it? To delete it, you'll have to go to action. First, you need to change the instance setting. Can you see? This is the option where you can change any kind of setting. So here you can say in the instance setting, click here change terminate protection. If you click on it, now if you as of now we are in the enable condition. If you click on it, yes. Now if you delete that instance, if you select terminate, you will be able to delete. Can you see this button is now enabled? And can you see release attach EIP? So you'll have to you have selected Elastic IP, so you'll have to click it here, this one as well, so that it will release that IP address. Now you just click on yes. If you do so, what will happen? They will this one, and at the same time, can you see this IP address also gone. So guys, so today's we discuss mainly on for Elastic IP. So everybody got to know how Elastic IPS will help you to achieve, especially restarting issues and all, start and stop condition and all. How we can associate IP address, static means fixed IP address with our instance. How you can dissociate, how we can reassociate it again, how you can create multiple things, multiple IP Elastic IP address, their advantage or disadvantage. So everything is clear now. Can we again go from Elastic IP back to the regular IP address, same instance? Exactly. Simply you will have to deassociate it and you will be able to use it. So Elastic IP is nothing but it gives an extra, you can say, layer of your IP address. So simply they have provided a default IP address. You are replacing that IP address with Elastic IP address. Again, if you remove that Elastic IP, what will happen? Imagine EC2 instance itself create default you can say public IP address, and again you can reuse it. Okay, okay, guys. So that's it for this one. We have some more part as well. We have already discussed about these things. like how to launch instance. After that, we already discussed about this thing as well, means key pairs. We already done this step. After that, see, can you see, like this is what our public IP address was, creating an elastic IP connect to your instance. This part already we discussed. You can allocate IP address from here. You'll have to select VPC. You, if your request was accepted, you don't have 5 or more IP address. Already you can't. Means here you can see there are some limitation. You can go up to 5 elastic IP address per region. This is a you can say disadvantage. So if you are exceeding that value, you will have to ask. You can say you'll have to raise a ticket. So to raising ticket, you can go for support, and can see like support center if you want to create some additional information, and just click on create case, and after that you will have to select service limit increase. In that case, you'll have to select what exactly you are looking for. So let's say if I am looking for elastic IP, can you see elastic IP? This is the options. You'll have to tell them like how many elastic IP address you would like to have. Let's say if I need to increase elastic IP address for new VPC elastic IP address limit, how many IP address you need? If you are looking for IP address more than 5, you'll have to specify. Let's say I need to have 50 IP address. You'll have to add a request like this one with a description. In that case, what will happen? They will create around 50 IP address. They will increase your limit from 5 to 50, and so on. So this one we already discussed. Once it's created, now you can associate IP address using this one. Again, now this time you have to connect it via your newly created IP address. Okay, so till this point, I think everybody is clear. Everybody have got an idea how this elastic IP address works, how to create, how to associate, how to dissociate the elastic IP. In the next class, we'll be discussing about a spot instance. These are the spot instance, how you can create a spot instance and all in the next class. Because this is also very important nowadays around like in general. Okay, can you quickly? Okay, so for this one DNS, you'll have to configure. You need to have the domain name. Arun, if you want to use DNS, means you need to have your domain name. Then only you will be able to access, or you will be able to use it. So this is what our Route 53 is. You can see DNS management. So I already have this domain name. I have already purchased this domain name. Then I am able to configure it properly. So for this one, so don't worry for this one. I have created another lab for the same, in which you don't have to purchase that domain name. Rather, we'll be using the free services that has been provided by some user, and that will integrate it. Okay, Arun. So we'll be discussing this thing. We'll have the separate class for the same, like how to create Route 53, how to connect it with this one, and so on. Okay, guys. So we'll see in the next class. Can you upload? Yeah, sure. I'll upload all the previous videos and all in the same link.